Blessings to be on the listener, whether it's a she or it's a he. Blessings to be on the listener, whether it's a she or it's a he. And blessings to be on the speaker, the sense of self awareness or pure consciousness would manifest the words of truth and that would manifest, and would manifest the words of wisdom through his finite mind and through his finite body. So there were quite a few inquiries, but Namaskaram, bird, I know you are awake. There were quite a few inquiries. Yesterday, we looked into one of them inquiry, that poor person. That inquiry had a lot of significance. For one, the person was hurting because their thoughts were raging out of control. It was significant for me to speak about it. It was a legitimate concern and it was a legitimate inquiry. Absolutely. There is no such thing as there is no such thing as less important less important inquiry and most important inquiry. There is no segregation in the inquiries. There is no discrimination in the inquiries. A question is just a question. You see, a question is just a question. However, I address the inquiries. However, I address the inquiries when I see that it would make a difference in the lives of many people in one time. People write me, and I encourage all the time to human and the beings that always ask and write me. We are here on planet with the yogis or the sages or the rishis, and we know that we are here not for a long period of time. That's why our main and primary purpose for the humankind to bring clarity in their perception. This job is very important. We understand that we understand that we create one happy human being. We create one happy, healthy society. We create one peaceful being. We create one peaceful society. Peaceful means the person, the being, the human is not in conflict with himself or herself, if you understand. This human is not in conflict with herself or with himself. This human has very less resistance in them. If you understand what I'm saying, this human has very less resistance in them. They are not in conflict. It means they are accepting creation as they accept them first. It means they are perceiving creation as they perceive themselves first. It means they are authentic. It means they are not creating dualities, or for the most part of their day. This is the goal of the yogi. Such a person, such a being, such a human is at peace for the most part. And when you are at peace from within, when you feel contented for the most part of your day, it is automatically, it is just natural that you would resonate through you. A person who self-love them. Self-love does not mean arrogance, that how pretty I look. Self-love is not, we have talked about self-love in the past. And I remember, just remember the word remember. I remember talking about that and dedicating the entire retreat for this. So, self love is when you don't punish yourself, you see, for the most part, or you don't oppress, you see, what you feel, not through human conditioning. Though. Because if you are feeling through human conditioning, if you are feeling through human domestication, then these are thoughts, you see. But if you are perceiving from divinity, then you are totally authentic. Then you do not go against yourself. So today I was, and I still am, in a state of meditation. I have been for quite a while now, and I want to say today that the three-dimensional reality that we perceive, it is very significant for me to speak about it. This topic requires my awareness, my focus, so it can bring clarity in everyday human's life. Um, the three-dimensional reality that we experience, if you know what I mean, the three-dimensional reality that we experience, it's a very narrow band. You see, there are two type of bands. If you look at the bands, there are two type of bands. Band number one is a narrow band, and band number two is a broad band, you see. But yogis and sannyasis and sages and swamis want an average person, want an average human to experience life in the narrow band, you see, but, excuse me, in the broad band, but not in the narrow band. So the yogis and the wise men, they want human to experience life in the broadband. You see the broadband? I'm sure you have heard of broadband. Broadband is a term that can be used in numerous ways. So the yogis want you to experience life in broadband, but not the narrow band, you see. While we talk and while we speak the words of truth and wisdom, we will perform meditation because I don't want you to deviate from the physical practice and spiritual practice. Because words of truth and the words of wisdom are very important. However, along with the words of truth and along with the words of wisdom, there must be some practical. Otherwise, it would bring only a small change in your well being. An average human, an average person, no matter what society they are, an average human and an average person, no matter what society they are, when they are raised in numerous things that go that they do not challenge. For conditioning and human domestication has its own significance because every society has been developed that way that it is very crucial to have some type of knowledge in order to survive among humans, if you understand. But one must be always open and look at anything and everything that what's been handed over to me. Is it going to be friendly with me or is it going to stop the expression of my very life I am living? Yogi and Swami and sannyasis want you to experience life in a broader scale. If you do not challenge what's been handed over to you, you live a life of the narrow band of three-dimensional reality. You live a life of the narrow band, which is three-dimensional reality. You see, the three-dimensional reality is a very small way to experience life. In this reality, you think that getting a job 9 to 5, forming a family, forming a few friends, forming a forming a relationship, and supporting the birth family, and this goes every day and all the days of the year, you see, and they think we are living a dream, and they think that this is it, you understand? They think this is it, but I can guarantee you this is not it. You see, this is the narrow band we talked about not long time ago. This is the narrow band that we talked about long time ago. It's the limitation of your perception based on human conditioning and human domestication. It's not the limitation of life. A yogi and a sannyasi always look one step more. Is there something for me to explore? You see? So yogi and a sannyasi, a wise person, a swami, always look one step ahead or out of the narrow band. Is there something else there for me to know? You know, is there something else for me to know? Am I missing something? So the way to do it basically is not to form bands. You see, the bands or the bonds, no matter what term you want to use. You see, in order to achieve the liberty to experience, in order to achieve the liberty to experience life beyond the narrow band, is to realize that life goes way beyond the narrow band. That is the realization first. And then the quest to know what lies just one step out the circle, or one step out the narrow band. Just one step, not much, just one step. That's the quest. When that quest risen, When the quest risen in you, then you do not form attachments. Then you say, there gotta be something more that cannot be it. You see, I know that. There is gotta be something more. When we come as a human, in the human body, we have the memory and the imagination. You see, and the life is a limitless possibility. You can turn the prana or the life energy. You can turn the prana or the life energy in the way you want it. Whatever, excuse me, whatever the direction you want to move the life energy, it would go in that direction. It's a beautiful thing to have. When you come in the human form and human body, then it's worth to experience life in all the ways and in all the forms it offers. That's why life is a gift, you see, with happiness and with joy. Even when there is a bend, not band this time, but bend, B-E-N-D, bend. Even if there is a bend in life, even if there is a curve in life, even if there is a bend or a curve, even if there is resistance, we know that this is our time in the human form to enjoy. So, no matter what has been thrown to us, are you following what I'm saying to you? No matter what's been thrown to us, we remain playful and we remain joyful. You see, we remain playful and we remain joyful. Any because the narrow band compels you to live a life which is a life of routine, which is a life of stability, which is a life of consistency. These are the terms indicating to the same reality. Narrow band compels you to live a life that, but after some time, that way of life becomes your comfort zone. After some time, the way of life becomes your cocoon. After some time, you say, this is it. As you can see the caption, that's the reason it's there. After some time, your mind has become used to of it, and you say, this is it. Any situation which arises and threatens to the cocoon, any situation, please follow my words, any situation which rises, uh, any situation which rises and threatens, any bend in this ride, in this journey, any bend which threatens the consistency or the routine, humans become very agitated and human become very and they feel very threatened, you see. But it's all human mind basically which has found the consistency and now considers it the comfort zone. I feel safe. But the same cocoon, the same comfort zone, after some period of time, it could be many days, it could be many weeks, it could be many years. There is no way to tell. It just depends on individual. It just depends on the being. After some time, it wears the person off. Person finally sits around and says, this is so same every day. You see, this is what we understand as it's now wearing the person off. And now it is the initiation to the liberty. The person wants to know life beyond the routine or beyond the cocoon. The person is getting ready to embrace challenges. The person is getting ready to embrace change. Change is not threatening. Change is the part of life. Embrace it with joy, you see, and you would have a different experience of life, so pretty, and you would feel energetic all the time. Don't resist it, you see, embrace it. It's the beauty of life. It's trying to, an experience is trying to teach you something. The more you have, the more, excuse me, the more experience tries to teach you something, the chances are that the more you would shed the karma. Because karma, remember something, please. Karma is shed usually by the resistance. When you learn what the experience is trying to teach me, you see, and you don't freak out with the change, embrace the change. So, the conclusion of all this, that what I have been saying, probably last 20 minutes now, or 25 minutes or something, the conclusion of that, do not scare of the change, embrace the change. I'm sure I have quoted Charles Darwin, the biologist, the English fella from England, and he said that in the most chaotic situations, in the most troublesome situations, the species or the creatures which would survive longest are not the most powerful one, or are not the most intelligent one. Those are the ones which long last and embrace the change. You see, that the one, those creatures would last forever, or for a very long period of time. Of course, nothing is forever, but for a long period of time. The one who adopts, the one who embraces the change. You see, the nature is same for everything. You see, evolution, however, forms different carnation. We will not go into that right now. You see, it would deviate us from our main subject here, the topic. The topic is embrace the change. That's the conclusion. Embrace it. Have patience. Become focused enough to know, become focused enough to see what it is trying to teach me. You see, these words, what I have said to you so far, or I say to you when I talk with you, these words you cannot find in any book. These words nobody teaches you in the school. These words only you hear. These words only you learn when you become receptive. You see, you become receptive. Everything is out here in this space. If you become receptive, doing the right things, then it just explodes on you. You understand what I'm saying to you? Everything is just right here in the space. If you become receptive to it, it just explodes on you, and you know everything that there is to know without even having a thought about it. So ponder, please. Watch, rewatch this video if you have to, and see the gist of the message. Excuse me.